What types of designs are going to be selling in 2024? I wanted to create a video where I was going to just showcase some of the current bestsellers and what design styles they're using, what fonts they're using, how they're laying out their designs. But instead of just showing you those designs, I figured I could walk you through my design research process and show you exactly how I find these designs. That way you can just take this process and this method and apply it to your own research when you're looking for new design trends. Be sure to watch this video all the way through, as I'm not only going to be researching designs, but I'm also going to show you how you can actually create these designs as well. If you're new here, my name is Taylor and my channel is focused on all things Etsy and print on demand. Here on my channel, I share my experience as an Etsy seller and business owner, as well as just share the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So of course, if that interests you and you haven't done so already, be sure to boop that subscribe button down below. There are so many different places that you can actually find design inspiration and kind of conduct this design research. I personally love finding inspiration for different design styles when I'm just out and about and running errands. For example, if I am in Target, for one, I love Target, but just walking around Target and looking at their different products, no matter what product type it is, if it's apparel, looking at their home decor, their mugs, all of these different products that can be turned into print-on-demand products are a source of inspiration. And big companies like Target have huge research teams that their goal is to figure out what is going to be up and coming and selling design style wise. So you can get this inspiration from tons of places, of course, not just Target, but when you're out and about. And so that's something that I like to do, as well as I also like to find my design research ideas directly on Etsy. Of course, I want to see what types of designs are currently selling. And so that's what we're going to walk through in this video. When I start my research process, I always start with a very broad phrase. So in this instance, let's just type in women's sweatshirt. I'm going to go into our filters and click star seller, and up in this bar at the top, the search bar, I'm going to just replace the word star with best. If you didn't know, that is how you can filter down to the best sellers, since that isn't an option in the filter anymore. This is just a little hack. Just scrolling through, I always ignore any of the rows that are ads by Etsy sellers. And instead, I will pay attention just to the rows that aren't ads and are ranking here organically. Just to start off, something that is catching my eye is the colors that I'm seeing in this first page. I'm seeing a lot of beiges, sands, and the military green color. So that's something that I want to pay attention to, because that is clearly something that's popular right now. And if I wasn't offering that color variation in my shop, I would want to potentially include that, since it seems to be really popular, especially in this thumbnail image for these different products. Another thing that sticks out to me is there is a lot of very just small, dainty script fonts. For example, this mama sweatshirt, also noting that there is a sleeve print. This second sweatshirt, a mama sweatshirt, small, dainty script font, has a sleeve print. We're gonna just ignore this third one because this is Carhartt, which would not be something that you can create in your shop. It is trademarked, it is another brand, so we're gonna ignore that. But this last product type here, again, small, dainty script font, sleeve print. Starting to get a little bit of an idea of some things that might be popular. Scrolling down, this theme seems to continue. So here we are with another very similar design. Again, this whole row is either the sand color Gildan 18,000, or we also have the military green. Now, this is a chicken sweatshirt, so completely different design style, but it is popular now and something that we might want to keep in our mind. And then also in this row, we have this grandma sweatshirt with, it looks like their grandchildren's name. And then again, another mama sweatshirt with a sleeve print. Going off to the left, I do have Everbee installed, so I'm gonna just click product analytics, and I am going to filter by the highest revenue. This first listing alone is generating over $100,000 in monthly revenue. Always keep in mind with print on demand, this is just the revenue, this isn't the profit. But from my experience, a very common profit margin with a sweatshirt like a Gildan 18,000, which you could get from Printify, you can be earning anywhere from $8 to upwards of $15 profit per sweatshirt sale. Just going off of the lower profit margin of $8 per item, just 8 times 3,000 is $24,000 in profit, which is absolutely incredible for just having one product bringing in that much profit. Now, of course, I am filming this and it is the holiday season, so of course this is definitely elevated for the time of the year that we're in, but this is definitely still an evergreen type of item that can generate sales all year round and might even have another spike like this when it comes to Mother's Day, since it is geared towards moms. Now, it would not be smart of me to make something that looks exactly like this, because odds are they've already found the market for this type of item, and I'm probably not going to see that type of profit because they've already done it, they already have the bestseller, and I'm going to be trying to compete with them directly, which isn't the best strategy when trying to build and scale your print-on-demand business. Instead, I can take inspiration from this design style and think of another niche that I could bring this into. So for example, we also found this grandma sweatshirt. Now, this is a bestseller, and if we use Everbee to analyze this listing, you can see that it's generating over $9,000 in monthly revenue and has almost 4,000 total sales. When we were in the search results, we saw tons of the mama with the names on the sleeve, but we didn't see anybody bringing that design style into the grandma niche. And so that is where I might have the potential to bring that design style into a completely different category or niche and see much better results than just copying something that's already been done. I've jumped over to Kittle, and here we're gonna actually create our design. I'm gonna start a new project. Also, something that I learned recently, when you start a new project in Kittle, there is this POD presets tab, which I was super thrilled when I first found it, because in this, it has all of these different preset dimensions for different products and different print providers. So if you were somebody who is selling on Amazon, or you use Printful, you sell on Redbubble, TeePublic, Displate, which I'm not quite sure what Displate is, but we also have Printify as well as Awkward Style. I like this because it makes it easy in making sure that you are using the optimal dimensions for the product that you're creating. That way you know that you are going to have the highest resolution image for that product type. That's important because if you don't have a high quality or high resolution image, then the print quality is going to suffer as well, and it's not going to be quite as good as you would want that product to be, and that could lead to you receiving a negative review. Now, I am somebody who uses multiple different print providers depending on what product type I'm looking to sell, as well as the variations. Sometimes certain product types, like the Gildan 18,000, there are certain print providers that have more color variations or different color variations than others. For example, when we were doing our product research and looking through the Etsy bestsellers, there was the Gildan 18,000 in that military green color that we saw sprinkled all throughout that first page of Etsy search. And that's a color variation that is not offered by every single print provider. More specifically, if you use Printify, I know that Swift POD and Monster Digital do not have that color variation. However, Awkward Styles does. So if you're looking to add that color variation into your shop, you might want to consider that as well. Also, Printful does have the military green color option. So if you're a Printful user, you would be able to use that color variation as well. For this, I'm going to just click t-shirt. We are designing for a sweatshirt, but the t-shirt dimensions here will work just fine. I'm going to start by adding in a headline, and I'm going to just type in grandma, and let's size this up. I want to figure out what type of font I want to use for this design. So in the text, we're going to just filter by script fonts. All right, I think I'm gonna go with this font here. It is called Halmera. It is actually one of my go-to script fonts. I love this font. I think it's very pretty. I am now going to just size this up and go ahead and just center it on the canvas. Offering something like this in my shop, I would allow personalization on this, because with something like grandma or the grandma niche, there are many other grandma names. So a customer might be wanting something that says something different than grandma. They might want it to say Gigi or Grammy. That is going to help earn you more sales by being flexible and being able to make those adjustments. If you weren't sure with how to create custom products and list them in your shop, I recommend watching this video next where I walk you through that entire process step by step. I'm gonna go ahead and download this. I'm gonna remove the background, and I always just check to optimize the quality. For any designs, I always download my designs as PNGs. Here in this tab, I've gone ahead and purchased this sleeve print mock-up, which there are tons of different sleeve print mock-ups that you can purchase on Etsy, and they're relatively cheap. I do want to just mention that if you are looking to sell any type of sleeve print design and product in your shop, be careful of the mock-ups that you are purchasing. Some of the mock-ups that include a sleeve print on the inside portion of the sleeve, like on the inside part of somebody's arm, that's actually not where the design is going to print from any print provider that I've seen that's offering sleeve prints. Most of the different print providers that I've seen that offer sleeve prints currently have that print actually being printed on the outside of the arm. So you want to make sure that you're picking a mock-up like this, for example, that has it on the outside so that it actually reflects what the product is going to look like when the customer receives it. So I'm going to just bring in our design, and I'm going to just bring this onto the sweatshirt in a place that I like. The next thing I want to do with this text here is just bring down the opacity or the transparency, as some may call it as well. And we want to bring that down just so this design looks a little bit more natural. I like to bring my transparency down pretty low. A big mistake that I see many new sellers make is they're leaving the opacity or transparency way too high on their designs, and the images honestly just don't look realistic when it is left too high. Generally, as a ballpark range, I'm somewhere between 75 and 85 on the highest end. However, it really does depend on the mock-up as well. For this example, I'm on the lower side of that. I brought this down to 75%. Because of the lighting of this mock-up, I think this just looks a lot more authentic to what this would genuinely print as a direct-to-garment type print. Which, if you weren't familiar with direct-to-garment printing, just to get a better understanding, that is a printing method where the ink is actually infused into the fabric. So it's not just sitting on top of the sweatshirt or t-shirt, it's actually sinking down into the fibers of the apparel item that you're selling. With this method, it does tend to fade the design just a little bit, and so that's where reducing this transparency is going to make it look more real. I'm gonna go back into this tab here, and I want to add a sleeve print to this design. For the grandma variation that wasn't using a sleeve print, they incorporated the grandchildren's name. So that's something that we could do here. So I'm gonna just type in a couple examples of some names. So we'll say Sally, and I'm gonna just copy, bring another name down. We'll say Max. And now I am gonna go ahead and just download this again, and let's bring that over to the mockup. And with this, I'm gonna bring it down to the sleeve, and I wanna rotate it because it is going to follow the direction that the sleeve is. I wanna make sure that the transparency on this matches that of the grandma text, so I just typed in 75 to make it easy. A lot of the bestsellers had just the plain script font like this, but we're gonna spice our design up a little bit. So let's go to the elements in Kittl, and I'm gonna just type in heart. I kind of like this little group of 3. I think what I would want to do with this is let's make the names a little bit smaller, bring them over, and then I'm gonna do the hearts to the right of the names, and I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller as well. I want to change the color of the heart. I'm thinking a light pink. I think that would be very pretty, more so like a pastel looking pink. And that is all that I would do. Now, I am a firm believer in that simple sells, and it's a really great best practice to find design styles that are selling in other niches and bring them into new ones. So this is a design style that I think is going to continue to be very popular, where we're utilizing sleeve prints. It's something that is definitely growing right now. And if you are somebody who sells apparel in your print-on-demand business, I think that adding a product like this and adding adding sleeve prints as a new variation is going to be a game changer in 2024. I think that we are only going to see this design style grow. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button down below. That lets me know that you enjoyed it and you want to see more videos like this. And comment down below if you are considering adding sleeve prints to your print-on-demand shop. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one.